Okay. So what we will do is we have blocked about 90 minutes. This is my plan. My plan is to maybe just take you through the process of establishing the agreement in the next maybe 40 to 45 minutes. And then I want a volunteer who can put their hand up and say, "Hey, I want to be coached for about 20 to 30 minutes. I will keep 20, outer limit 30 minutes. 20 minutes, we'll see how we can establish an agreement. And then we will allow for 10, 15 minutes to share learning. I can stay beyond 90 minutes. I have no other sessions scheduled. If you want to stay back and clarify some doubts, ask some questions, please go ahead and do that. This is being recorded for people who want to drop off early. Like she said, she wants to drop off 10 minutes earlier. I will share the recording and you can go through it. And then maybe you can reach out to me for questions. Okay. All right. So let me go to my famous, very, very famous whiteboard first. Okay. All right. So when a client comes to you for a coaching session, we are talking about establishing and maintaining agreement at a session level, right? When a client comes to you, they're coming to you with some problem that they want to resolve or some question that they have for which they want answers, or there is a goal that they have in mind and they want to figure out a way to get to that goal. Yeah. So let's say this is your client. Okay. So client is coming, client is in the current state. Okay. This is the current state. And when they finish the conversation with you, they want to have an end state. Okay. Yeah. That is the reason they're coming to you. Now, when the client is coming to you with the current state, they are taking some actions or they have taken some actions to go to the end state and they have not been able to make that progress or for whatever reason. Now they're kind of, hey, this is my current state. I want to go here, but I'm here. Okay. Now, please remember, when a client is coming to you, they are taking actions to go to an end state based on some needs that they have. Those are the needs that you need to explore. Okay. Now this is what the client will say, right? Let me just move this up. The client will say, I am here, I want to go here. Okay. Right. So I'm just going to draw this iceberg so that you get this right. So client will say, I'm taking some actions and this is where I want to go, results. I'm taking some actions. I've taken some actions. These are the results I want to get, but I'm not getting these results. For the client to take some actions, there should be some want, something happening within themselves, right? Yeah. They should have some kind of a motivation, some need, whatever. Now we have to explore what is their motivation or need to go from here, the current state, to the end state. Okay, that is one important thing that you need to explore. The other thing that you need to explore is they want to go from current state to end state. Today, they have not been able to do that because there are two things happening. One is at a doing level. One is at the being level. We are doing level, there are some actions they are not taking, or something is stopping them from taking those actions. Or at a being level, there is something happening here, either the way that they are thinking, they are feeling, or some beliefs that they have, some values that they have, which is not allowing them to take those actions that they want to take. Okay, there could be two reasons. Okay, at a doing level and at a being level, right? So first you need to find out by end of this conversation, what is that they want to see happening. Okay, and then for them to go from current state to the end state, there is a reason, their motivation or their need or whatever you want to call it, or their inspiration, if you want to call it inspiration to go from here to there. Okay, that you need to explore. And also you need to explore so far what has actually not allowed them to move from the current state to the end state. It could be at the action level, the doing level, or the being level. Okay. And you also have to find out from the clients, how would they know they came for whatever, they want to reach an end state. How would they know by end of the conversation, that particular session, they have achieved that end state? Yeah. Or during the conversation, how do they know that they are making progress towards the end state? Okay, so these are the 4 important things that you need to get to know from the client, and you and both the client need to be on the same page for the conversation to move forward. Okay. Now, the most important thing that you have to keep in mind is you have very limited time. Whatever time that you have, it could be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 15, whatever, right? So you need to be very clear with the client saying that, hey, we have only this much time. In this duration that we have in our hand, what is that you would like to achieve? Okay, the first question, there are many different ways of asking this question. The first question that you will ask is, what is that you want to achieve? Okay, in this session, very categorically, what is that you want to accomplish? Okay, what is that you want to take away? So on and so forth. In this session, which also means the time that we have. Okay, you have to state this time upfront. The reason that you need to state this time is sometimes the client will go all over the place. When the client is going all over the place, the only way to get that client back on track is to say, hey, we have limited time. Right? If you set expectation upfront, the client will not get a jolt. And this is especially for real clients who have real problems. If you're doing peer coaching, the peer coach knows this is what it is. You don't even have to ask questions. They will say, this is my goal, this is all of that. They'll rattle it out. Okay. Now, this question that you are asking, is at a doing level. Okay, what is that you want to achieve? What are the results that you want to see by end of the session, right? What are the results that you want to see? What is the outcome that you want to achieve? What is the goal that we have for the session and all of that? Okay. Now, So that you have to agree very clearly with the client. And obviously, you and the client both need to know you are either making progress towards what the client wants to achieve in the session, or the client has achieved by end of the session. Okay. So the second question you would ask is, how would you know you know that you got what you wanted? Okay. For God's sake, please avoid coaching language like what would be the measure of success for this session. They don't understand. Simple language. You said you want this to happen by end of the session. How would you know that you got what you wanted? These are very two important questions. Actually, if you ask these two questions, no, the conversation can start moving forward without any problem. Okay. However, these two questions are being asked at a doing level because you're only actions, right? You ask these questions at a very head level, and the client will be able to very clearly say, this is what I want to take away, or this is what I want to accomplish, and this is how I know I got what I wanted. Most of the time, the first question they definitely can answer. Second question, most of the time they may say, I don't know. Right? When they say, I don't know, don't get panicked. Okay? It is usual. A better question to ask is, okay, you don't know. I also don't know. As we progress in the conversation, I will do a check-in. How do you feel about that? I will do a check-in. Okay. As we progress through this conversation, I will do a check-in. How do you feel about that? Most of the time, the client will say, yeah, I feel good, or I'm okay with it, whatever, right? Now, as much as possible, keep your questions open-ended. Yeah. So the same question you could also ask this way. As we make progress in the conversation, can I check in with you? That's a close-ended question. The person will say yes or no, right? Sometimes if the person says no, then what are you going to do? So don't allow a question like that. As much as possible, open-ended question, right? Now with this level of agreement, the conversation can absolutely move because you have guardrails to keep the conversation on. Okay. Now, if you want to make it meaningful for the client, the agreement has to move from the head to the heart. Okay. How do you move it from the head to the heart? Head means the client has a logical reasoning of what that person wants to achieve by end of the session. The person logically knows how that person reached that place or making progress. This logical goal, which is in the head, has to move to the heart. Okay. So this is at a head level. And when you move down and ask questions is when you actually start exploring the being of the client. Okay, that is where you are finding out the motivation, the reason, the relevance, and so on and so forth. Okay, this in ICF competency, you are asking a significance of that particular goal. Okay, right. Now, you ask this and you ask this. Do you have to have a sequence of asking these questions? Okay, there is a sequence, and I'll tell you what the sequence is. this question, the second question of how do you know what you want, how do you know you got what you want to know, cannot be asked without asking this question. Yeah, are you okay with that? Right. But the significance question, okay, the relevance question or the relevance question.
Repeat that, what you said about the first and second question.
Right.
We had a doubt.
So, yeah, the second question, how would you know that you got what you wanted by end of the session, cannot be asked without asking this question. Right? Because you need to know what is the end state from the client first. Only then you can ask the person, how would you know that you have reached the end state? Right? You can ask the end state and ask a significant questions, which is perfectly fine. You can ask the end state and ask the client what has not enabled or what is coming in the way of the client not being able to achieve that also is an okay question. But without asking this question, you can ask. So what I'm saying is, you don't have to go 2, 3, and 4. First, you have to ask the first question, and then you can ask the 3, you can ask the 4, you can come back to 2, which is perfectly fine. But this question has to be asked because you and the client need to know what is that you are going to achieve by end of this. That is very important. Once you have asked that question, these 3 questions can happen in any order. Okay. And the time that you have has to be stated upfront. After asking this question or asking any of these questions, before you start exploring and going forward, that is very, 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 very important. Okay. Now, let me explain this a little bit in detail. Now, there's a simple process of a coaching conversation called the coaching process. Okay. The coaching process has got 3 stages. The agreement, once the agreement is done, awareness. Once the client has got awareness, you can take the client to actions. Okay, this is a very linear process. Okay, now if you have established the agreement at the doing level, at the head level, actually this can easily go through. Okay, awareness will happen at a very surface level, but still awareness will happen. Okay, now if you really want the client to get a deeper awareness, it has to go from, sorry, I said head here, it's heart. Okay. And the awareness to happen, the agreement to get established at a deeper level, it has to move from the head to the heart. Okay. Now, when you do that, what actually is happening is the agreement, while the agreement is happening, right? While the agreement is happening, you will also see a little bit of awareness happening. There's a little bit of awareness happening. When you go from the doing to the being. Okay. So you establish here at the head, you come here. So you first you do it here, then you come and do it here. And then you will see this happening, the overlap happening between agreement and awareness. However, if you do a deeper exploration, you will start noticing the client will actually go back to this and say, hey, actually, you know what I told in the beginning, this is what I want to take away. That is not what I want to take away. I want to take away something else. And then this will go in a loop. If you are able to do that, actually what will happen is the agreement and awareness both will overlap. Awareness will open up, right? So it will happen because you are exploring the client's being. Okay. So this is a basic level establishing agreement. When you only do at the, when you establish an agreement at the doing level or the head level, if you are able to go a little deeper below the waterline and a little bit of exploration, you will be able to do it at an advanced level. I am actually keeping away the ACC PCC jargons deliberately, and I'll tell you why. And when you do this, where your agreement and awareness has got overlapped, you're establishing the agreement at a mastery level, right? The reason I'm saying basic, advanced, and mastery is even while you hold an ACC credential, if you have understood the competency and if you're willing to go a deeper exploration with the client, you can start establishing agreements at an advanced level and a mastery. Okay. Your credential has got nothing to do with the way that you can establish an agreement. Okay. Okay. I'm going to pause here for a few minutes. Whatever questions that you all have, please ask those questions. I'll clarify it and then I'll move on.
Have you mentioned that fourth question yet? As in, have you written it down?
I'll come to that. I'll come. Yeah. Sridevi, please, this. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the biggest stumbling block in starting any conversation where the client tells you, there are so many things that I want to talk to you about, Sri. There's a lot of stuff happening in the professional level, personal level. I don't even know where to get started. All I wanted to do is just come here and meet you and talk to you. While there are many ways, I know that there are many ways to get there. My question to you, Sri, is there is there a smarter way of asking the question in the interest of time? Normally, we then get there in about 30 minutes saying, okay, now what is crucial for you to take the first step? What is really coming in your way? So I do ask them that what's your fog looking like? That's one question that I ask, and then they're able to say, no, it is my relationship with my husband. That's really blinding me. Then then I ask them, would you like to talk about it? But I wonder if that's the right way to do it.
So this has happened to me many times. The client says, I don't know where to start. Okay. So I would say, hey, let's start having a conversation for about 10 minutes and see where it goes. So allow the client to speak. It will be 5 minutes, first, whatever. See, when you allow the client to speak for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they will speak. Let them speak everything that they have in their head, because they are not getting an opportunity to speak anywhere else. So allow them to speak. When they speak, they will hear their own voice. Otherwise, there's only a mental chatter going on. They're not able to hear the voice. So allow them to kind of speak out everything. And then you should make mental notes of the key words that they are speaking, and then play it back and say, hey, Shri, I hear you saying that confidence, relationship, work, this, child, all of that, or all this that you have shared, what is the one thing that you would like to pick up and explore in the time that we have together? Okay, allow them to speak. Yeah. The fourth one is a very important one. I'm just holding because I need to spend a little bit more time on that.
I have two questions.
Sure.
One is it necessary that you clearly state either you or the client clearly states the goal, because sometimes it so happens that without really uh, talking about the goal, what the, in a proper statement, the client knows in their mind, they are clear what they want to achieve. So is it necessary to, jump into the conversation and as a coach ask, I mean, invite them to reconfirm? That's the first question. So shall I also state the second, or will take
And
it?
I'll answer the first.
Okay.
If the client is very clear about the goal in their own, they will also very clearly state by end of the session how they would have also got to that goal. Ideally, right? If they are very clear. Now, there have been situations where the client has come before even greeting and wishing, and all of the clients, hey, in today's conversation, I want to talk about this. Okay. Now, please understand, talk about this is just a topic. Talk about this is not a session goal. And a lot of coaches get confused with, I want to talk about this. For example, the client may say, okay, today I want to talk about my fitness goal. Fitness goal is not the outcome. Fitness goal is the topic. So you have to very clearly ask, hey, for example, you came and told me, Coach, I want to talk about fitness goal. I would say, Archana, I hear that you want to talk about fitness goal. What in relation to fitness goal would you like to accomplish by end of the session today? End of this session. Don't confuse the topic with the session goal. A lot of coaches confuse that. And then they will, okay, so the client will say, I want to talk about my fitness goal. And then you can't take that and ask, how would you know that you got what you wanted? It sounds very stupid.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, this was a real
Yeah.
gem of a
Yeah.
response.
Sorry,
Another
go
question.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Archana, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So the second question is around like one of the ways which I have experienced in which client dodge making a clear, agreement of the goal is they are hesitant with the words that are replayed by the coach. So if they are invited to state for themselves, they are not able to do it. And when I replay it, they are not able to hold on to one of those, words. So how to tackle, I mean, what are some of the ways in which such a situation can be tackled?
If you can give me an example, I can help you with that.
Okay, so where I see that, the client is seeking clarity about something, and, he appears to be, they appear to be very confused. So if I use a word like, I see that, you want to clear confusion around this, or you are seeking more clarity around this. So they are hesitant to hold their attention to that one word.
Okay. My question to you is, the word that you're using, is it your words or their words?
Yeah, so it's my word. If it's a, if, I mean, generally I face this problem wherein uh, the clients are talking a lot, and it's very difficult to pick up, catch hold of those keywords. There are many things that are being shared. So in my attempt to summarize, then I have to use some different words other than what they are using.
Okay. See, if you use words which they are not using, you end up confusing them. So you always have to use their word, because the words that they use, they have a meaning for it. Otherwise, you'll end up confusing them. Always use their words. Okay. Now, another way to overcome that is the client has shared so many things. You can play back a few words and then ask the client, if you have to simplify this, whatever that you shared for yourself, not for you as a coach, for them. If you have to simplify what you want to take away, how would you like to simplify it for them?
Hmm.
And then they will make an attempt to simplify it.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, Sarabjot, go ahead.
My question is that, like we discussed, that sometimes in the agreement phase, there can be some bit of awareness also happening. So suppose there's a scenario where during this agreement phase, when we are exploring, and that exploration comes to a point where when I ask the client that, okay, so what is it that you would be wanting to take away from this session today? And the client says that, I think I know what I want now. So if this happens, then how does that agreement happen?
Nice.
Because he's
So
already
you
got what.
Yeah. So if the client says, so when you ask this question, what is that you want to take away? And the client says, I already know what I want to take away. Ask the person to state what the person wants is taking away.
Okay.
Okay. So they may say that I want to take away this. Right? You can start doing an exploration on that.
Okay. So then do I need to make the statement then that, are we agree? Is this what we are agreeing on? Like, how should that agreement come? And that is where I get confused. So I don't know how to handle that scenario then, that, if the exploration begins, so what to do with the agreement?
Okay.
Sometimes it gives me the sense that there is no agreement happening.
Okay. Now that you know what is that you want to take away from this conversation, in the remaining time that we have with us, what is that you would like to see happening?
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can also ask, where do you want to start? Right. Okay. So no question. I'm coming to the fourth point. This is a very, very important point. Yeah. Okay. Now, the client says, I'm here. Current state. The end state, the client says, I want to go here. Now, there may be something which is pulling the client back from where they want to go. Okay. Or there is something which is pulling them forward. You can explore both. What is stopping you from doing whatever you want to do to get here? Or what will help you to move from here to here? Okay, one is what is limiting you, what is liberating you. So if you are going to talk about this, you are talking about their limits, limiting. If you are going to move them forward, you are going to liberate them. Right? This also can happen at two levels. One is at a doing level, one is at a being level, right? Now, doing level, what will happen is, so doing level, they have some obstacles. What are certain things that you can consider doing to overcome these obstacles? Basically, the question that you're asking, what is that you need to focus on so that we can go from here to here? What needs to address? So you will have a lot of conversation where the coach is asking what is coming in your way. So they're basically looking at obstacles. What is coming in your way? Right? What needs to be addressed? So this is actually happening at a doing level. If you really want to explore and liberate the client from where they are right now, and if you to take them to the end state, you have to dig deeper, go underground. When I say dig deeper, explore their values, explore their beliefs, explore their thinking, explore their feelings, and let them not struggle at a doing level to get to the end state. Let them make a shift in the being level to go to the end state. So if you ask them questions like what is coming in your way, they may get stuck in the doing level. How about going a little deeper and exploring all of this? What are the beliefs that they're holding on to, which can actually take them from here to here? What are values that they're holding on to, which can take from here to here? What are some of the thinking that they are holding on to, which can take from here to here? Okay. But the question is, or some strengths that they have, some talents that they have, and so on and so forth. When you ask a question on strengths and beliefs and values and all of that, you may get an answer which you may feel. For example, if you ask a question on values, the client may give an answer for you. For you, it may not sound like a value. For example, if you ask a question, what are your values that can be leveraged in this session so that you can move from here to here? They may say perseverance is a value. You may say perseverance is strength. Don't argue with the client. It is the meaning that the client give to themselves. Your meaning can be different, their meaning can be different, but their meaning is important in their context. Okay? And also when they are using words to ask them questions. Now, I want you to do this exercise. Okay? Take this word confidence. Just write it down, confidence. I want to ask two different questions on the word confidence. So let's say the client says, if you ask let's assume that you asked a question like, what are your strengths that can be leveraged for us to move from this state to the end state? The client says confidence. Okay. Now, the very important thing is to find out what the word confidence means to the client. Now, these are two questions I'm going to ask you. Please write down the answers. What do you mean by confidence? That is the first question. And the second question is, what does confidence mean to you? Same word, you ask questions in a very different way. For the first question, the person will give a definition which is at a very doing level. The second question, the person will give a response at a being level. That's the difference. So always when the client has shared something, when the client is sharing something, receive that information, process the information, and see whatever information that the client shared. Is there a way that I can ask a question which will explore the being of the client? If you can do that, then you would have started establishing agreement or having a conversation at a master. Yeah, Nirali, you have a question? You raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you, Shrikant. Actually, I'm just wondering that, when the question like what's coming in the way, it happens at doing level. Very directly, if you ask what are your beliefs that are stopping you? I mean, people don't like that question. I mean,
No,
yeah.
that's exactly what I'm telling. Don't ask them what is limiting. Wrong question to ask. Okay, what beliefs that you hold within yourself will help us to move from here to here by end of the session? It's an enabling question. It's not a limiting question. What values that you hold within you can help us from move from here to here? I'm not asking a limiting question. I'm saying don't go here. Don't go backwards. Go forward. Ask a liberating question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lakshan, go ahead and ask a question.
So, typically when it comes to beliefs, no, I try not to use the word beliefs in a coaching conversation because clients typically don't know really what that means. So what I ask either is something like that whole letting go, letting come thing is there. What would you prefer to ask? Because to me, it makes a lot more sense on to ask the what's holding you back, what's getting in your way, and asking what do you need to let go to move forward. I'm a lot more it comes a lot more naturally to me than to ask what do you need to allow to happen to move forward. So which one would you say makes in your experience has makes has made more progress for the client?
I have a better question to ask, Lakshan. I ask what within you can enable you to move from this to this? What within you? So let them choose what's within them. It could be a talent, it could be a strength, it could be a belief, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. What within you? Yeah, Loy, you have a question? I'll respond to that question and we can get into a demo. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the question I had is sometimes when we explore a little bit more deeper with the client, all their answers tend to point towards somebody else. That I am doing this because I'm asked to do it, and which is why I'm stuck, or generally it is put on somebody. So then how do you bring it to them? How do you bring it back onto them?
Okay. So the way that I am understanding is that the client comes and tells it is not my problem, it is somebody else's problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe you need to be direct. So a thing like a so and so, I'm repeatedly hearing that somebody else has to change for you to achieve what you want to achieve. What is this telling you about yourself? Put the spotlight on them and let them feel a little bit of heat. Remember, the conversation needs to be in a very conducive, supportive, trusted, safe environment. Coaching conversation need not be all lovey-dovey. It can be very challenging. It can be very, what should I say? That's a little, the client needs to feel the hot, be in the hot seat. Yeah. Okay. Some question. Yeah, go ahead and ask Deepa. You had a question.
No, not a question. So typically, it also depends on the client. Where I'm working with largely, CXO level clients. So I think they are used to being challenged, and they like me. For them, safe space and a trusted space is when I'm straight. So they are open to what stops, what's stopping you. and it lands so well that next time they come taking actions. So I think earlier I have seen that typically it also depends on the nature of the profile I'm working with. If I'm working with a B2C client, I would say what enables you. If I'm working with a B2B senior client, because every second of their time, and that inaction is very expensive to them and the organization. And every action they take, it is going to earn the organization loads of money. So there I'm straight and I say what stops.
See, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Use the client's context, and you can ask what is limiting or what is liberating. It's the client's context. Yeah. So you have a preferred approach. Use whatever works in the context of the client situation. Basically, you need to move the client from the current state to the end state without giving advice. That's it. As far as you can hold it, I think you're good. Okay, so I'm here. We can do a 20 minutes of live demo, only establishing agreement. And then we can open it for learning. Whoever wants to volunteer can put your hand up. 20 minutes. Lakshan, 20 minutes? Only establishing agreement.
You can do it in 15 minutes.
And, and also, if you don't want me to record that, I will not record it. I'm okay with that. I can pause the recording. Maruk, you want to volunteer? Recording okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So I would request all the others to go off video, me and Maruk on video. And also make sure that your mic is muted. Maruk,
Hi, Shrikant.
how are you doing?
Very well.
It's been a long time since we came on video and saw each other.
Yes, yes, it has.
So Maruk, we are in this conversation. A lot of people are observing us. I just want to assure you that this will remain confidential within this group. After this conversation is over, and if you feel that this recording should not be made available to anybody, then I will not make it available. Yeah. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes. What is that you would like to explore in the time that we have together?
So something that actually I've been trying to work through the last few days. I have been feeling extremely stretched for time. There's so many things on my plate, and there is this very irritating thing that tends to happen with me. Somewhere I have allowed too many people to okay, let me put it this way. I have held space for too many people to kind of feel very comfortable to reach out to me at any time to talk about their problems and, literally cry on my shoulder, to a point that now it's becoming really dysfunctional for me. I'm having dinner and I'm talking to people. Late in the night, people are just calling, and I want this to stop. So I don't know what exactly I want to do about it. That is still helps me to hold my value system in place. But I really can't, I'm getting too stretched, and I need to set some boundaries around this.
I am hearing these words, too stretched, and setting boundaries, people crying on their shoulder, and so on and so forth. As you're sharing this with me right now, Maruk, how are you feeling about this issue?
Irritated. It's been irritating me. It's been really irking me, especially the last few days, because when work pressures are high, I don't seem to get any downtime. I just, even my family members are saying I'm just never available. I'm constantly on the phone with somebody or the other. So honestly, it's really irritating me now.
And where is this irritation coming for you from?
That I'm not able to disengage from this and say, okay, you know what? I don't mind occasionally kind of holding space for you when you need to talk, but I'm not constantly available. I'm not available for you to call me every evening or every alternate day just because something bugged you. And yes, these are friends, no doubt, or people I've met at various training programs. They're not necessarily clients, but somewhere that, you can't do this all the time just because someone is willing to listen to you. You can't just keep dumping on them. How do I kind of make that clear without hurting the person? Because I don't want to hurt the people. They're nice people, they are friends, but somewhere I sense I have allowed too much of this. And now I need to kind of backpedal. And how do I do that graciously without impacting the relationship?
I heard these words holding space and boundaries. What do these mean to you? Mhm.
So basically, what these people are doing is coming and sharing their problems and hoping I'll kind of help them out in some way. And when I say boundaries, I don't mind doing this once in a while, but I can't do it every day for everyone all the time. So that's what I want to somewhere find my, how do I put this? I don't want people to feel that I'm always available to them. I'm happy to help, but I don't want to constantly be in that mode. Or I don't want people to feel that I'm always available to be in that mode.
And who do you want to be for these people?
So I would just like them to be friends and stay as friends, which means we're equals, where we have fun together. Occasionally, we help each other out, we hear each other, but it's becoming a very unequal relationship somewhere, and I don't like it. What also comes in my way big time is my value of service. So I always feel if somebody needs me, I must show up for them. And then whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody else, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's a friend, the friend sister, it just goes on and on and on and on. And honestly, I'm tired of this. So I at the same time, my value of service is very, very strong. So I feel very bad if someone says, I really need to talk to you. And I say, not today because I'm really exhausted today. Can we speak tomorrow? So I feel bad. I feel I should make myself available to them. So how can I, while still living my value of service, not spread myself so thin that the service becomes a burden?
The value of service is become a burden.
Yeah.
What would you like it to become for you?
I think I want to reconnect with the joy in service. Service gives me a lot of joy. I like being there for people, but not to a point where I'm getting burnt out and everything. that I need to also spend time on is getting compromised. I'm getting no time to decompress myself. I don't want it to become something that I feel obliged to do rather than something I find joy in doing.
What are some other values which are giving you joy, Maruk, in the situation that you're going through right now?
In this specific situation, I think connection. I think that's also a big one for me. So service and connection are two big ones in this context.
So I'm sensing connection is a value which is getting served, and service is a value which is getting burdened.
Even the connection is getting is not, because now I don't want to talk to them and they're friends. So I don't want to feel like that about them. But I don't want to see the person's name on the phone and say, oh my God, I don't want to talk to her again. I don't want to feel that way. I want to find the joy, keep the joy in the connection as well.
So I'm sensing that there must be some value which is allowing you to do what you're doing.
That's what I'm sensing, that it's the service value, but it's becoming heavy now. I want to serve and I don't know when to stop serving. I think that is that fundamental value which is the serving. As I'm speaking, I'm thinking to myself, if I stop serving, who am I? Because it's such a core identity with me. So the question I'm asking myself now is it that if I don't serve, I don't know who to be if I'm not in service?
So what is the answer that's coming up for you?
Look, I'm tired of serving. So I don't want to serve anymore, whatever it is. If it's an erosion of identity, it's an erosion of identity. I'm sure I will create a new identity. That's okay. But this identity has become too heavy for me. It's just become too heavy.
This identity has become too heavy for me.
Yeah.
I'll create a new identity. Okay, all right. So we've been speaking for a while now. We have maybe another, 7 or 8 minutes, or maybe out to maybe 10 minutes. If you want to focus on something very specific and take away from this conversation, which can give you meaning, what would that be?
So two things are arising. I'm not very sure where I want to explore. One is, because this word identity has come up, what is that new identity I could explore? Right? I didn't think I would go there, but that's something that's coming up very strongly. The other is to say, if I wanted to give up, I don't want to give up the value of service, but if I want to serve with joy, then how can I extricate myself out of this situation I've gotten myself into with grace? Yeah. How can I set boundaries with grace without impacting? Because again, connection is a value. So I don't want to kind of break off and, so how do I set boundaries graciously? And maybe these two are interconnected. Maybe the new identity may help me find this answer. I'm not very sure, but these are the two things that are coming up. I don't quite know which one will emerge.
Out of these two which you mentioned, which one would benefit you in the long run?
The identity one, without a question. Without a question.
Okay, now between the two, which one would you like to pick up?
Identity. Without, yeah.
What does identity mean to you, Maru?
Who I am at the core.
Who I am at the core, the limited time that we have. What is the progress that you would like to see towards that particular identity?
As I'm speaking, I'm realizing that for the very long time, who I was at the core was fundamentally a giver, someone who wanted to serve. I want to explore what could be a new identity. I don't want to give these up completely, but I want to hold them lightly. I want to see what else I could be.
So how would you know that we have explored adequately in the time that we are together?
I don't know adequately, but if I have a sense of who else I can be, whatever, however many those identities are, just even get a sense of that, I think it would be hugely helpful.
So the service and the connection are two major values for you, which are being burdened
Yeah.
in the situation that you are going through. What are some other values that you hold very close to yourself, Maru?
These two are so overwhelmingly large, but I would say playfulness, if that's a value. I think that is one. And inner peace. That's the one that's getting hugely compromised. And also excellence. These are the ones that are coming up at the moment for me.
Playful, inner peace, excellence.
Yeah.
So if you have to leverage these values and navigate through this conversation and arrive and get a sense of what is the new identity that you would like to have, which one would you like to pick up?
I'm not sure at this moment. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know at the moment. I think I need to probably explore them to see where I want to go with this.
What do these values that you mentioned mean to you really?
So again, I think playfulness is, there's an ease, there's a flow. Again, inner peace is about ease. Excellence is the other end. It's not about ease, but it's about just raising the game for yourself, but doing it in a way that is fun, doing it in a way that it speaks to you, not in a way that becomes a burden. So how can I use playfulness or ease also to gain excellence. So I don't know. So what seems to be the theme that seems to be emerging is ease and flow. If I were to look across these.
Ease and flow. So we have been in this conversation for almost about 15 minutes or so. What are you learning?
So it's interesting. If I go back to what I started with, these are very precious relationships to me, but the ease and flow has gone out of them. And question I'm asking myself is, how can I bring ease and flow back into it? And one of the questions I asked myself was, how can I do this with grace? And the answer that's coming up for me is, can I use playfulness? And I don't know exactly how I would use playfulness, but I know this is a strength that I leverage deceptively. So lots of questions are getting answered. I'm not too sure which one you even want to know, but it's very interesting how it's kind of woven, a seemingly disparate tapestry has woven itself together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see a big laughter coming back on your face. How are you feeling now?
Very good. Feeling very good. It's as if some new doors have opened. And this whole thing about service and connection, it's all very well. Sometimes one has to evolve beyond that. Is what I'm feeling.
You said you need to have some sense of identity that you want to create for yourself. Where are you on that right now?
I'm very much in sync with how I'm going to marry excellence with playfulness. I think that's what will lead to inner peace for me. I think I'll have to figure out how to do it, but I think those are doors I want to now open.
Okay, so Mauruk, due to lack of time, we'll park this conversation.
Absolutely.
If you feel that we need to have a further conversation to explore this, just let me know and I'll be happy to have that conversation.
It's always a privilege to have a conversation with you, Shri. Thank you.
All right, so let's get everyone else in the view because she has to go. She's got like, has she left already? Shri, are you there?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, you're off video. Maybe you want to come on video, share your
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I
learning,
didn't come on video.
observation, learning, and then you can drop off and I'll continue with the others.
You're asking me, Shri?
Yeah, because you said you want to drop off at
Yes.
7:50. Is there something that you want to share, and then you can go.
Nothing specific, Shri. As usual, brilliant conversation. Nothing specific. I learned something new today, which is the way you said that for paucity of time, let's now park this. So that I like the word park. Instead of saying we have to stop this for now, it makes you feel a little apologetic that did I just end up mismanaging as a coach? And also makes the coachee feel, did I end up wasting time? So parking felt nice.
All right. Okay, others share your observation, ask questions, whatever you want to do. We have time. As I mentioned to you, I can stay back to clarify all the questions and we can close.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I wanted to ask one question. There can be conversations where we don't reach the end result, right? So in that situation, is that a successful conversation? Or do we say, obviously, if the client is happy to talk to us or feels lighter after talking to us, that client might come back. But he can also have a feeling that, what is the point? I've not reached my end goal. So, like in this conversation, though she has reached somewhere, she has understood, but she has not spoken it very clearly that, yeah, this is what I wanted and I've reached there. In the sense that she's understood what is the path and how to do it, but there can be more conversation which could have made everything clear. So what I'm trying to say is, because there was lack of time, she had to just sum it up without even saying it aloud. That, so do we consider that as a successful conversation, or how do we term it as?
Okay. Successful conversation for whom, Divya?
For the client, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out, you may want to ask a question by end of the conversation, how the client felt about the conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Don't assume that it was a failure or a success for the client. You ask the client, let the client say. And if the client say the client is not happy, stomach that feedback.
Okay.
Please keep this in mind. Your role as a coach is to help raise the awareness for the client. The client has come with a certain level of awareness in the situation that they're going through. So your role is to raise the level of awareness for the client. Your role is not your agenda. So
Correct.
you follow the coaching process, and if you follow the coaching process to the T, it will happen. Okay.
And does it
Not
also happen, sir, that we end up extending a little more time just to reach the end goal?
if you have time, yeah, that's important. If you have time and if you're managing time well, if you feel that, hey, if I invest another 10 minutes, maybe something deeper, meaningful for the client can happen, feel free to do it. I'm not saying don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, actually, it was the most deep learning experience. I've never experienced something like this. I thank Maru for this introduction. The whole thing about being questioned and everything is completely new, and I really enjoyed them. For me, everything was learning, so nothing as such comes to me, because I think so much is there I need to process, and then maybe I'll reach out, in case I have queries. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome, Deepa. Yeah, go ahead, Loy.
Yeah, I think a big takeaway for me in this this conversation has been where in between the dialogue that you were having, you asked a question on what would give meaning to this conversation, which I thought was a very powerful segue into entering into a space of figuring out what's a way forward. Because before that, I was thinking, where is this going? Because we were circling around the identity conversation. But I think the moment you asked that, it led to a very different direction. So that was a very big takeaway for me.
Right. Yeah, Nirali, go ahead.
It was a brilliant conversation, Shrikant, as usual. But what struck me the most was, like, while Mehrukh was talking about so many things happening with her, it was a very nice and intelligent way to take the conversation deep by asking, as you're sharing all this with me, how are you feeling? And that feeling immediately helped her to go down deep. And then I think that was the turning point where more deep conversation was possible. So that
Right.
feeling is a very good trick, I guess, when the client is too miffed and just talking about too many things overwhelmingly, then I think this is what I learned. Should catch on the feeling and then move forward. Yeah. But I just have a question, if I may ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somewhere, I don't know if I may be wrong, but because I got too lost in the, diving deep conversations, I just felt that locking wasn't very evident. of course, I mean, there were 2-3 times where you locked and then she was like, yes, and then something else, and then yes, you know. So basically it was identity. Of course, it was very obvious also, but then it happened not in a very obvious way where I feel obliged that, you know, I repeat that and I say, so, okay, are we agreeing to accomplish this? And I sometimes feel it's a little childish also. I do agree. So what do you say? Does it have to be that obvious?
Let's ask Maharuk, because I don't know.
Mhm,
Let's ask Maharuk whether locking happened or not.
mhm.
When she was saying that, I was thinking of the cat. We're running to catch the tail. Could we catch it? I don't know, but I think we did catch it. We did catch it
Yeah, you
because
caught.
I hadn't. So I've been working on this the last 2-3 days. I've had a number of peer coaching conversations around this,
Mhm.
and I have not found the identity piece has not emerged for me. I thought at best, a goal like, okay, how do I draw boundaries with more grace or something like that would emerge. But this has opened up something completely different. And I have never thought of this.
Mhm.
I realize I have gotten so locked in my identity as I perceive it. It's mine. I can change it, right? Who locked me into it? I've locked myself into it. And that's a big one for me. So I think it's a huge shift for me.
So,
And this is the classical, I think also, Shri, I think this is the classical, that MCC piece where there's so much of deep dive while, the contracting is
Yeah.
happening.
So see, the client is super happy, you know, Shrikant. We all can witness that. The client is super happy and she's accomplished whatever she wanted to. But again, you know, I'm repeating disclaimers that, you know, maybe this is a little childish, but then do we have to really lock the agreement very evidently and then move ahead?
See,
Hmm.
when she said, I got two things,
Hmm.
boundaries with grace and
And-
new identity,
Yeah.
right? What is the question I asked? Between these two, which will help you long term?
Yeah, long term. Yes, yes.
She said identity. I didn't pick it.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't pick it. I asked,
Hmm.
now which one would you like to choose, or something like that?
It was very subtle, actually. It was very
Yeah, because she said it is identity long term, I didn't pick it, no. I still allowed her to pick, and she said, let's go with that. Because she had a realization that this is what has to happen. And what is the next question asked? How would you know that we are reaching or exploring or whatever towards identity? How would you adequately know that we are exploring towards identity? That is the session goal. Exploration towards identity.
Right,
It is
right.
not about creating an identity.
So if we are asking that question number 2, how would you know that this is a successful session?
Exactly.
Right.
And then she said, when I have a sense, I will
Yeah,
know.
she said adequate, I don't know, but then I'll come to know. Yeah. Okay, so it was so subtle, you know, it was so subtle. I mean, yeah.
But Shrikant,
Because
what made you ask that
Thank
long-term
you.
question? I want to ask that. It's a very atypical question. What made you ask that question? Because that
I don't
really
know.
triggered.
I have no idea. I have no idea. In the moment I asked that question. See, I don't know. The two questions came to me. The first question was, between these two, which one would you like to pick up? The second question was, the long term, which will, whatever that question I asked you. And I said, okay, maybe I should ask the second question and then allow you to choose.
Suppose there was a question like, between these two, which one will serve you better? But that doesn't give a context. The long term put the context very clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But would that be leading?
No. It's not leading. Yeah. Yeah, Archana, go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, so no, this is not about the question. What I want to share my biggest takeaway. And since, we are talking about identity, what I noticed was the enabling question to steer the conversation towards identity is when you initially asked, who do you want to be for your connections? So that is like that I found a very subtle way to steer the conversation as a coach. So this is how it's a very like without really asking the client, okay, go this way, take this route, take this route. This is a very nice way to
Right.
steer it in
Right.
that way.
Okay.
Shri, this question of which one would you know, this or that, is it a close-ended question?
I didn't ask that
uh,
question. Deepa, I didn't ask that question.
what
I
was the
didn't ask
question
this
you
or
asked?
I didn't ask this or that.
I forgot now. वो क्या था? How did you word it?
After she told me the identity will be the thing.
Yes. Yes.
Between these two, which one would you like to pick up?
Which one would you like to? So that is not a closed-ended question.
No, it's not.
Okay, interesting.
Shri, how do you remember the questions that
How
you?
would this be the closed-ended question? Like how, if this was a closed-ended question, how would it sound?
This or that.
Okay, so saying this and that.
Yeah. Do you want to pick this one or do you want to pick that one? Do you want to pick
So
A or
that
do you
is a
want to pick
closed-ended.
B? Yeah.
Ah, which one becomes an open-ended?
Yeah.
Got it, got it.
It's a choice question. Yeah.
Yes.
Niral, you said something?
No, I was just curious. How do you remember the questions that you asked? Like, is it memory power or there is some skill or trick behind it?
I don't know. Maybe memory. I don't remember all the questions, but long questions.
Because as a coach, even I get so lost in the conversation that I don't remember what I've asked. But I definitely keep my ears sharp to remember what the coachee is saying, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarojot, you raised your hand.
Yeah, my question is that what are the kind of close-ended questions that we can ask? I mean, is there a context to be able to do that, or it's a complete no?
Ideally, you can avoid all the close-ended questions. If you feel like you want to challenge the client a little bit and get into some kind of a personal digging deeper, maybe seeking permission, you can ask a close-ended question, like which I never do. I don't ask a close-ended question. Will it be okay if I ask whatever?
Okay.
Right? Then if they say no, then you can't.
And suppose like during the agreement, if the client is agreeing and then they're quickly changing again, so can we say that are we agreeing? Are you agreeing to talk about? Are you agreeing to this being your takeaway by the end of the session?
No. Better to ask you. I heard you say this, and I heard you say this. What exactly would you like to take away?
Right. Thank you.
Shri, just one small question. One of
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
competency also says that, you have to I don't recall the exact word, but it says that re-ask or reconfirm as to what the client wants to, achieve in the session. So in this case, that is the question says, if it is framed in a manner, say, I heard you saying this, just want to check if this is what you want to achieve in the session.
No, you can still ask us an open question.
So is this an open-ended question or?
That's a close-ended question.
That's a close-ended question. So how do you frame it in a open-ended question? Wherein the objective is actually to recheck.
Yeah, so just make a statement and leave it. Make a statement. Why you ask a close-ended question? See, if you know the client is going to say yes, it's a very redundant question that you're asking. No, make a statement and leave it. So I'm hearing you say that this is what you want to take away from this conversation. Leave it.
Okay.
Reconfirm.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Very quickly, what other objects in learning that we have?
Maruk had a question, pa.
Yeah, go ahead. No?
I didn't have a question. I just put two questions in the chat whether these are acceptable closed-ended questions. Which
Okay,
I find
okay.
I find myself using these.
Would this be a good time to conclude the session? Mahrukh, it's a close-ended question. The best thing to say is that, see, you will ask this question because when you get a sense that it's a good time to close.
Right,
Otherwise, you won't ask the question, right?
right.
You can play your sense. Hey, I can say, Mahrukh, I'm getting the sense that you have got what you wanted to take away. What is your sense? Right? If you say yes, then how would you like to summarize and close this conversation?
Okay, okay. Because I do tend to
Okay.
ask this. So I
Yeah.
must
May I
not-
share something that's coming up for me? You don't have to ask for permission. You say, I'm getting this sense and I am going to play it to you and check with you. And then play that and ask, what are you sensing?
Okay.
Okay. Very quickly, I have something I'm going to show you, and then we can. I will send this as a PDF file if you want to. This is just because Sarojat was after me saying that I want to know how PCC markers are met and this and that and all of that. Sarojat, for your sake, I'm doing this. Okay. Now, this is purely going by the ICF core competencies. Go to the website, you will see behaviors. Okay, they're numbered 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are behaviors numbered under establishing maintain agreement, competency 3. From 1 to 5 is about the entire engagement. 6 to 10 is about the session. 11 is about the entire engagement. So these are numbered like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And how an ACC will demonstrate the behavior, how a PCC will demonstrate the behavior, how an MCC will demonstrate the behavior. I will convert this as a PDF and put it in the this thing. You can go through it. Okay, this is as far as how at each level coaches can demonstrate behaviors. Okay. When it comes to performance evaluation, there's a separate thing. This is how evaluation is done. Criteria, whatever I'm showing you here, no, it's there on the website. I just simplified, summarized, and put it here. Now look at this. Partnership in setting goal, agrees on session goal with the client, partners to identify or reconfirm session goals, explore session goals deeply, ensuring it's meaningful to the client. Defining measures are not explicitly mentioned, but implied in focusing on the client's agenda. For ACC evaluation, this is not there. Defines or confirms success measures for session goals. Ensure clarity on success measures, checking regularly with the client. Okay. Now look at passing criteria here for this thing. Does not pass if the coach imposes the own topics or fails to focus on the client's chosen topics. This is explicitly mentioned by ICF on their website. Right? In PCC evaluation, everything is based on the mark. Not explicitly mentioned, but failure likely, partnership and exploration of significance are not demonstrated. Does not pass if full partnership with the client is not demonstrated, including flexibility and response to clients' needs and goals. Right? So this is a gist of the ACC, PCC, and MCC evaluation. I will convert this as PDFs and send it to you for you to reflect.
Shrikant, I want to say one thing when you show
Go
this.
ahead. Yeah.
I read this, but the way you have simplified it, it becomes so clear just with a glimpse of this statement, which was I could not able to comprehend with that simplicity when I was reading this and what does it. So thank you for doing this. It's so simple.
Yeah, I'll put it and send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So just you've gone through the entire session, you've seen the demo, all of that. If there's one or two things that you will take as a learning and implement in your future coaching conversations to establish agreement, what is that you will do differently? Very quickly. Everybody can just go ahead and share.
For me, I'll focus on asking more of being questions. That is the biggest takeaway, because till date I just get stuck in asking more of action questions. So that's my biggest takeaway, and I'll try and see how I can do it. Even as far as my the way I do my coaching agreement, I really struggle for literally for 20 minutes, and that's another thing that I think I've learned. I'll try and see where I am on that.
Lakshan, how much time did we take for the entire conversation? 20 minutes? Or?
When I told you to this timeout signal, it was exactly 20 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe you took a minute or so after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, regarding the takeaways, for me, two things that I want to keep in mind. One, use playing back keywords to simplify things that are being shared in that conversation. I have not been doing that on a very, I don't, somehow, I don't know, there's some resistance in me which stops me to play back the keywords. But I want to introduce that with the purpose of simplification. One. Second is focus more on enabling questions, and maybe have a set of words, some vocabulary. For example, what is limiting you, instead of that, what will liberate you. Every such word has got a ring of so that somewhere uh, subconsciously it does liberate you. So have those kind of enabling questions handy. I mean, not as a ready questionnaire kind of a thing,
Sure.
but unless I internalize that kind of vocabulary, it is not going to come out. So just be mindful of those kind of enabling words.
All right. Sure. So Deepal is done. Archana is done. Yeah. Okay, Divya. All right.
I'll say, Shri, I also need to leave then.
Yeah, you want to share something and then leave?
Yeah, sure. It was a great session. What I can, I mean, my takeaway is, I think just from the beginning, try to go to the bottom a little bit and then come up for a breather. How I'm going to do it, I don't know. I'll do it and share a recording to you.
Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was brilliant. I'm glad I attended it. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, bye.
Shrikant, I can it's so fresh for me because in today's session there was uh, the the client can actually identify what beliefs is not supporting her. And I did ask as to what what new belief system that you want to create. I did not ask this question. It was more about what changes you want to make, something like this. So that is something that I could able to very quickly pick up when this conversation was going on. So you don't need to ask any disabling or disempowering kind of a question, which makes the person already feel more guilty about that. And I see that. I recall that possibly this question has landed that way.
Right.
So thank you for saying, just whosoever asked that question back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, now I have shared. Okay. Maruk.
It's a little difficult because I don't have that perspective as I didn't listen in. But for me, for a long time, I felt I was in my head. And then suddenly you took me in, you know? So I think that, and that, you know, that I'm still thinking about that question you asked about in the long term or, you know, in the future. And I think basically when you change, you've kind of put an end state for me. I didn't have the end state clearly. And I think that was a game changer. So I think that that willingness to take that punt.
Okay.
At the minst, I would have said, you know what, long term? I'm not talking long term. Okay, drop it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious. It's been very interesting because I'm wondering whether a lot of our conversations when we are doing with our clients, we're very here and now. And the minute you just stretch that timeline for them, will they see things differently? I'm just wondering whether it's a tool to play around with. I mean, I'm using the word tool loosely. Don't take it as a tool, but I'm just wondering whether that will help.
Yeah. So Mahrukh, it's a great question that you asked. This conversation was primarily focused on only establishing agreement, and if I had a full conversation, I would have perhaps allowed you to visualize your identity.
Right.
And then something would happen. I don't know what would happen. Something like that.
Right. But can we do that stretching of that timeline, saying, okay, today I hear you. If you think of the future of this situation, or if you think of this context from a long-term perspective, what arises for you, or something like that.
And see, as a coach, if you sense, right, it has to become a sense, not when you walk into the conversation session, you say, I'm going to do a visualization. No. The client is speaking, identity, all of that. And if you as a coach sense that a visualization exercise will help, then you can play the sense to the client and say, what would you like to do? This is what I'm sensing. I'm sensing a visualization exercise will help you. What would you like to do? Let the client decide. No, they say, no, I'm not comfortable visualizing. Just drop it. Figure out something else. All right. Okay, Sarojot. Perfect. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to share this recording. You can watch and then you can share your reflections.
Shrikant,
Okay,
I just wanted to check with you, like you had it for establishing, like you've got the simplified markers. Can we have it for the other competencies? It would be hugely helpful.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
It's a project that I have undertaken. So I started with competency 3 first.
Okay. I have one by Kali Anderson that I've again downloaded from somewhere. I can share that with you if it's of any help.
Okay. Yeah. Let me simplify it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'll share this in the groups and others. Yeah. You can watch.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.